ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty, where we're here to provide you with a fun and entertaining look at the lore of the fabulous Sixth World. Got a full house with us here tonight. Joining us, as always, a dear friend Tyler. Tyler, how are you doing this evening?
Doing pretty good. You said, what was the word you used? Fun and entertaining.
Yep, that's us.
I saw a review, I think, of this podcast where they said it's sometimes informative, which, that's fair. I think Easy's very informative. It's just that we go off the rails a bit. But you know what? We're here to stay on the story train and stay on those rails. And who is conducting the choo-choo of lore? So easy. How's it going?
I mean, it's going well. I'm definitely not conducting, though. We are on
Uh-oh.
a ride, and
Who's
it's
driving
going
this train?
someplace
Whoa!
nobody knows.
Ghost train.
You got to say, though, that some of our tangents end up being pretty hilarious.
Oh, absolutely. No one could take that away from us.
Absolutely no one. These are our tangents.
Yeah. And I want them now.
Well, if you guys want tangents and you want to be able to hear them beforehand, hear them early, there's only one way for you to do that. What is that? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked.
And I did. That was me. Sorry. My voice shifted a couple octaves.
The only way that you can participate in some great beforehand sinless or Shadowrunning on Empty episodes to hear our podcast early, come join us over on our Patreon. You guys, $5 a month, and you get to hear these episodes before anybody else does. You get shout outs at the end of all of our Sinless episodes. You get to submit questions to us that we will answer on our future Worm Talks.
Oh, well, easy. Where do I go to sign up for your Patreon?
Well, I'm glad you asked, kind citizen. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/critical_hits. You'll be able to take part in some of the behind-the-scenes goings-on, of which there are many, I promise. Once you get into the Patreon exclusive area on our Discord, you'll be able to hear all of the crazy banter that goes back and forth, or ask the pertinent questions that you have, and we will collect them and give you those answers.
And more.
And more. There's so much more. But let's get into today's topic, you guys. I know you're excited. We've talked about a lot of different things. We've talked about the world and how it's shaped, and some of the megacorps that are involved, and some of the great dragons. But we're going to touch today on everybody's favorite NPC that they either love to hate, or just hate.
Sam Hickory.
I wish. No. Maybe in the future. Maybe in the future will be Sam Hickory. But right now, it's one man named Harlequin, a.k.a. Harlequin.
Oh, it's a full name?
Or Quentin Harlech.
Now you're just making things up.
I'm really not. I know it's crazy, right? Or if you're feeling formal, Caimbiel.
Caimbior?
Caim, Caim, Biel.
Caimbiel?
Caimbiel.
No, Harlequin's pretty, I'm good with that.
He is one, if not the most powerful individual in the Sixth World. He doesn't command any kind of corporate respect. And when we're talking in terms of power, we're referring to magical power. He, of course, is an immortal elf. His main goal in the Sixth World thus far has been to keep those extra-dimensional terrors known as the horrors from entering the sixth world.
Remain vigilant.
That is what he's trying to do. He believes that at least in another 2,000 years, meta-humanity will have developed both the magical and tech needed to defend themselves.
Oh, they just got to be like babysit until then.
Yes, they kind of have to be babysat until then, because, of course, there are people in the world that are open to hearing the whispers of promised power from these extra-dimensional terrors.
Boy, howdy am I.
Right? Who doesn't want unlimited power?
Good.
Yes. Yes. Harlequin has supposedly shown up in our history as well, as some believe that he could be Richard the Lionheart.
Which remind me,
That's pretty dope.
You don't remember Richard the Lionheart?
there's so many
From history?
names, and not right this second. The name, I know we've brought him up, even if it was just in conversation, but
Richard the Lionheart, the King of England.
oh,
The man who people have related to Arthurian legend.
may have heard of him.
The legend of King Arthur and his
No,
court
I
and
know that
family.
that's
You got
where
that
that's
part?
where my common understanding.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly Excalibur. People believe this because
He was also the king that led the Crusades for England, but that's
yes, also historically, yes.
Ah,
He was reported as supposedly saying that King Richard I's armor, quote, still fits, though whether this was a joke or not, no one can actually tell.
That's pretty funny. And within the sixth world, it is possible because the elves never went away, right? The elves were just in hiding until goblinization, more or less.
Well, he was one of the immortal ones. There's two different branches of elves. There's the immortal elves that hail from the fourth world.
Uh-huh.
And they lost their elven features when magic receded during the fifth world. And now as magic came back, they re-elfified.
Gotcha. Okay.
Some people may actually refer to them as spike babies.
Oh.
why?
The notion is that if you are a spike baby, your DNA actually already had these markers in it for these traits that are pronounced, like for, say, elves or orcs or trolls. It's just they were repressed because magic, the mana, was not around. The manosphere wasn't up high enough for the traits to express. And of course, this is a nifty way for some of the immortal elves who have been around since the fourth age to be like, yeah, that's what we are.
Interesting.
All immortal elves are immune to age, disease, pathogens, and poisons. It's how they survive the Vitus plagues.
And just for comparison's sake, you're saying immortal elves as if that's not the norm. So what's like the average lifespan of an elf?
While the average lifespan of an elf is long, like into the hundreds of years, they don't live forever. They do age. They do visibly get older, but the immortal elves do not.
So there's not like an average lifespan for an elf?
They're still testing and trying to figure it out. Let me see if I can find that for you. Give me just a second.
I was also going to say that whatever you say now is canon. Play the dangerous game.
Take this as you will, but schools in the tier teach that elves can expect a lifespan of some 400 years, barring disease, injury, or disaster.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, there you go.
There you go.
While it's expected to be at least over 100 years, apparently, according to the tier, it can be up to 400.
Gotta say, not as long as I thought.
What were you thinking? Like
close
to
1,000? 8 to 9. 8 to 900.
Nope, not quite.
You're in your 400s. You're still a youngin', you know?
So I know you'll be asking yourself, why is Harlequin so famous? What makes him so interesting?
Well, he's Richard the Lionheart. That's pretty
You might have heard of him.
Yeah, it's kind of a big
Arthurian
deal.
legend.
Well,
Yeah, leader of the Crusades.
beyond that, supposedly one of the reasons that has him so endeared to the Shadowrun community is he is one of these characters that has come from the fourth world and survived,
which was called
Earth
something
Dawn.
Earth Dawn. Yes, so it was like something Dawn.
Yes, it's called Earth Dawn.
It just didn't
Um,
dawn on you.
Some people
It did
actually
not.
refer to it as the Age of Legend.
Like Arthurian legend.
Very humble, once again.
I actually have a timeline for you finally, Austin, for that fourth world to fifth world.
Let's go.
So they estimate that the average length of a world from like fourth to fifth, fifth to sixth, etc., is around 5,000 years.
Oh, okay.
So every 5,000 years is technically, that's like the flow of mana on a wave.
I see. So the fifth world would have been during the dinosaurs?
They say the fourth world ended when magic diminished,
Right.
and the island of Thera,
Uh-huh.
known in myth as Atlantis,
Okay.
sank into the ocean in
Yes.
3,113 BC.
Gotcha.
And that begins the fifth world.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
If you want the exact timeline, you can get it from good old Aaron the Scribe.
Oh, reliable.
Our man.
He puts the era of the fourth world as from 8,238 BC to 3,113.
Oh, okay.
So there is your timeline for the fourth world.
Cool.
And yes, Aaron the Scribe is also an immortal elf.
Of course he is.
Because why not, right? Hey,
Yeah.
got immortal elves coming out of the woodwork.
He's
Yeah, checks
existence
out.
is his existence is NPC. He needs to be.
Yeah.
I am the shadow leader.
Stay a while and listen.
Haradrum, Haradrum. So we did talk about Tir Tongari, and that is where Aaron the Scribe is. However, you would not catch Harlequin dead in that nation, since he views Aaron as a rival, and they actually have a history going back as well. Harlequin is normally known to have goldish brown hair that he usually dyes red and keeps tied back in a ponytail. His eyes are green with gold flecks, but may change depending on his mood. His left ear was cut during his first duel with Aaron, and this was actually a huge mistake on Aaron's side.
Why is that?
Because that unleashed his true power?
Well, during the elven duel, to maim your opponent is bad form.
Oh, you're supposed to just kill them.
Well, no, that's technically also bad form.
Oh, come on. What's the point of a duel?
You're supposed to humble them.
Yeah, it is
Make
a
them
humbling
humble.
moment. Yes. You're either supposed to disarm or like first blood across the chest type deal. But they were getting very heated in this duel, and Aaron overstepped and took part of Harlequin's ear.
Hate to see it.
It was bad. I actually have the time of when it took place too.
I have a very pressing question in regards to that. So easy.
Okay.
Does that make Harlequin a half elf?
Oh, boo! No, it does not.
I'll be
And
here all episode, folks.
you would not say that to his face. The first duel between Aaron and Harlequin actually took place in a Renaissance era France.
For all your scenic duels.
Harlequin comes back at him with another duel in the sixth world.
I was gonna say I like to hope that this is just like every 300 years they have to have a duel with each other.
It does go back and forth, and the last one was between them. Harlequin came out on top, so it's probably only a matter of time before Iran possibly strikes back. Harlequin is of average height for an elf, being just a head shorter than Aaron the scribe. Harlequin is usually dressed in a long black or brown leather coat with lots of buttons on the lapel. Underneath the coat, he wears blue jeans, a cotton t-shirt, usually of a popular band,
What a punk.
along with anaconda skin cowboy boots.
What?
I like this
What?
guy.
What?
This is for Harlequin?
This is for Harlequin. Yes.
Okay, because when I Googled him, he looks like a clown. And I'm sure that
his face is usually painted. Sometimes it is a single diamond over one eye. Otherwise, it is full white face with diamonds over both eyes and a triangle over his mouth. So he looks like a traditional court
Jester.
Harlequin. Yes.
Yeah.
These colors may vary depending on his mood. He has painted this particular face since the Renaissance, and it is more of the iconic for him to have the triangle over his mouth and the diamond patterns over a full white face with his red hair that is pulled back into a ponytail.
What is that hairstyle? If you look him up, it looks like the jester's cap thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What is that called? Is there a name for that hairstyle?
I do not know.
Oh.
Where he has it up in like the three different ponytails, like the jester's hat. I don't know if that has a specific title, but I do know what you're talking about.
Because I'm perfectly content with calling it good old Jinglehead, but I don't know if that's
good old Jinglehead.
Yep, man's
Can't
got
go
himself
wrong.
a good old Jinglehead. But I don't know. Now that the more I say it, the more I'm like, I don't know if it's okay to say that. Huh.
Harlequin is very whimsical with his mood and attitude. Everything about him is subject to change depending on how he's feeling at the time. He is quick-witted, although his jokes may depend on some very like far-fetched reference that you might not get. Or he could be referencing something from earlier in his life that you weren't alive during.
You had to be there.
Like that old Napoleon guy, he was a hoot.
Oh man.
He can be quick to anger, but also quick to forgive, except when it comes to Aaron and his all-consuming rivalry with him. When he talks to his Shadowrunners that he hires, and he either will hire you through proxy or approach you directly, again, depending entirely on how he feels. He will discuss any subject, and often does so in a rambling manner difficult to follow, usually revealing little, preferring people to discover it for themselves. He'll give you the clues, although they may be very obscure hints. He makes reference to some historical events that have happened in the Sixth World and in history, and whether he's joking that he had a hand in said event is very difficult to tell. He very much plays up the prankster, the joke-oriented person, although when he does get serious, it often is deadly serious.
He definitely bears a lot of similarities to certain clown prince, except not overtly evil.
I guess that's in the eye of the beholder, really. I mean, he does want to stop the horrors from making their way into the world, so that's noble and good, right?
At a glance.
Well,
I feel
unless
like because of Shadowrun, I'm just waiting for you to tell me some horrible atrocities he's committed.
not a whole lot,
Hey,
actually.
I'll take it.
He was instrumental in stopping the Universal Brotherhood chapter house in Seattle and eliminating the insect spirit threat that was behind it.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad. During the early 2050s, He challenged Aaron to another duel of wits, and he ends up winning and taking Aaron's daughter, Jane Foster, into his care.
Wait, after beating him in a duel,
Yeah. Duel of wits.
he just took his kid?
Took Aaron's daughter. Yeah. Although it's his illegitimate daughter and he doesn't openly claim her for obvious reasons. Because it would look bad. And Aaron's all about how his image is.
Reputation to uphold.
He does. He's on the Council of Princes after all.
Ah.
In 2056, Harlequin decided that he should stop this group of ne'er-do-wells that was trying to open a gateway so that several horrors could cross over using the spike point of the Great Ghost Dance.
Oh, interesting.
He does stop it with the aid of Dirk Montgomery. They're able to thwart this group from opening the gateway. And then the very next year, in 2057, he and two other Shadowrunners used the Dragon Heart to level out the spike point so that no one else can use it to try to open a gateway. And remember what the Dragon Heart was for those playing at home. That is that mystical artifact that was created through the self-sacrifice of one Dunkelzahn.
Yes. Long may he reign.
The true hero.
Somehow Harlequin gets his hands on it and uses it to forever close this spike point where you could potentially create a bridge to allow horrors to cross over into our dimension.
Not great.
No, not a good idea. But he stopped it, so, there's that, right?
I'll take it.
Like we said, Harlequin does have his origins rooted in Earthdawn in the fourth world. He is sometimes referred to as the last knight of the Crying Spire.
What a title.
It is. Originally hailing from the Order of the Knights of the Crimson Spire. Little is known about the order. The Crimson Spire was in Earthdawn in the City of Spires. It was an elven kingdom, and the Crimson Spire was renowned for their sword masters, dedicated to the preservation of elven culture and tradition. So if we take the tier meanings, then he would be a paladin.
Hell yeah.
Of the first meaning of the word paladin in the tier.
Which is the noble, just like the...
Furthering the cause.
Okay. Oh, dedicate to the cause. Yes.
Yep. And that cause happens to be to protect elven culture and tradition. And the way that's done in the sixth world is to make sure that what ended the fourth world does not end the sixth world, which are the horrors. These otherworldly beings that feed off of death and destruction.
So Harlequin's not really a good guy or a bad guy. He just kind of exists.
He is very middle of the road. He tends to stay out of corporate politics. It doesn't interest him. He doesn't have any kind of corporate backing. He lives very much in the magical world.
Oh, okay.
So anything that deals with magic, expect him to know something of or have some experience. Nobody knows his true abilities. It's rumored that he is self-initiated into the high double digits, but he usually masks his aura. He follows no magical tradition, but he has a strong hermetic bias. So, more rooted in spell formula than in talking to spirits.
So he's a nerd.
He is a sword master and wizard adept. He has also demonstrated the Lightbringer ability of Armor of Light. and the 15th circle light bearer ability of astral walking.
What are any of the words you're saying? They sound very cool, and we're just saying like, yes,
Yes,
bringing, yes.
Yes, of course, he's definitely able to do that. The ability of astral walking, it means that he can travel to other metaplanes physically. Normally, you're only able to go into the astral by having, your astral form leave your body, and then you go on to the metaplanes from there. Well, apparently, Harlequin knows of a way to just open a gateway and then step into the metaplane that he wants to. Keep in mind that this is unheard of, and nobody in the Sixth World has broken how to do this. They haven't cracked the spell code.
Now, is there a particular reason why you can't just transpose planes like that?
Because they believe that you can only get there through your astral form. Magic has not progressed far enough to be able to understand the true ways to travel the planes, basically.
So he's just that next level.
Well, he's been around since for the Fourth World, so yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it.
People have speculated that he's actually traveled to the metaplane that the horrors come from. And that's why he has that ability, Armor of Light.
Oh, because that was the only way he was going to be able to survive.
Yes, because it is supposed to be a realm of madness and darkness. A really nice place. You build a summer home there.
Yeah. Timeshares and everything.
Yeah, exactly. And if he's double digits into initiating, the amount of meta magic that he is aware of, and that he's not only a adept, but also a mage adept, so he can cast spells, but also is able to run up walls.
Okay, now when you say initiations, I'm trying to figure out the significance of that because I'm not magic-y.
I know. Remember when we did our magic episode and we talked about initiation groups?
Yes.
And that people would come together to increase their magical power. They would form these initiate groups. And when they complete an ordeal, or they go on an astral quest, or they work together to unlock the mysteries of a spell formula, then they raise their magic level. Right?
As a group.
As a group. He's done this by himself.
Built different.
You just built different in the time of legends, apparently.
Yeah. You just get it.
I mean, there's a reason that they didn't call it, the time of passive men and women.
The time of adequate health and wellness.
Adequate health and wellness.
Time that was okay, I guess.
It was wishy-washy, but we had stuff and things.
The time that was.
The time that was fine, shrug. How weird, they wrote out shrug on there.
These passive-aggressive elves.
Ancient hieroglyphs decipher this to be an elf shrugging.
Unlike his fellow immortals, Harlequin does not involve himself with politics and intrigue at the international level. He could care less.
He's already my favorite immortal.
No political machinations, no Machiavellian state building.
Yeah, he doesn't need to pull the strings and be the puppet master. He's just doing his thing. He's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but have you guys seen these fucking dragons, man? They're everywhere. I'm gonna go hang out with those guys.
Yeah. You're not wrong. He spent much of his time in the Sixth World immersed in magical research.
That sounds way more fun than trying to run a mega corporation.
Or build
Yeah.
an all elven nation.
Yeah, like, no, I'm good, man. That's cool. I'm gonna go hang out with dragons.
It's just kind of pursuing his own thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, the other crazy thing you have to think about is since he's been around since the fourth world, he knows some of the dragon's original names
The true names.
from the fourth world. Yeah.
Oh, I forget. I always forget that the dragons have like new names.
Yes, they have new names in the sixth world.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because why?
Why not? Who's around to remember what your original name was?
Oh, why not reinvent yourself, I guess?
Yeah. New year, new you, right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
New age, new world, new
New,
you.
new
Yeah,
world
yeah.
resolution.
New world
This-
resolution.
This world, I'm going to do keto.
I'm gonna try keto.
I'm going to try it out.
You know, I've heard some things.
You know,
Or in
why
the
not do it
case
for 1,000 years? Just see how, see what happens.
in the case of Dunkelzon, hey, you know what? I'll just run for president.
Yeah. Yeah, who
Look at
says
this.
you can do it?
These humans have invented this thing called democracy. I want to give it a try.
I can respect that.
Elected officials, what a novel concept.
Back in my day,
Back in my day, we had kings and queens.
man, all these old folks.
I'm trying to find out what Dunkelzon's original name was in the
Pretty sure
fourth
if you
world.
say, you'll probably just explode or something. I don't know.
I think you say it out loud, you just die. No one can know.
It's like the voice in Skyrim. You say it, just gust of wind and force. Just why not? Why not? That's the motto for the sixth world. Because why not?
Okay, I found it. Haha, success. So, his draconic name and or title was Far Scholar.
Yo, Far Scholar.
Yes,
That is such a cool name.
this was a private term and never used outside the company of other dragons.
Interesting.
That is pretty dope. I was also seeing if I could find it while you were looking. I found two fun pieces of info that I was not previously privy to though.
Ooh, go ahead. What you
So
got?
first, the word Dunkelzahn is a
Mhm.
combination of the German words Dunkel, which means dark, and Zahn, which means tooth. So his other nickname was Darktooth.
Whoa.
Uh,
It's all pure German name.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
This is probably my favorite. This is in the miscellaneous section on the Shadowrun wiki page for Dunkelzahn.
Mm-hmm.
Dunkelzahn had a fascination with the Matrix and was indeed quite net savvy. He was up until his death a devotee of the Shadowland BBS. His most common handle was the Big D, although he occasionally used his actual name.
That is correct.
I just love that Dunkelzahn is on the internet. He's like, yo, what up? It's your boy, Big D.
Big D in the house.
Yeah. He had a weird fascination with it. If you actually read any of the, I think, second and third edition books where they'll have little blurbs like you're talking on a message board, underneath some of the response blurbs, you'll see the Big D.
The Big D. I love it. Oh, I love it. He's the best.
Harlequin does it too. And Harlequin, his handle on the Matrix is usually the Laughing Man.
Wow, these guys are subtle with their names.
Oh yeah, very.
Checks out.
Yes. Sometimes the older version of his Matrix handle was -H-.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Austin, you'll also be excited to know that Harlequin had a long, close, and hang on. Harlequin had a cordial relationship with Dunkelzahn, and was even invited to be a guest on Worm Talk.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's why he went after the Dragonheart after Dunkelzahn died.
Well, they had the shared goal of stopping the horrors, so
Right, yeah.
yeah.
Sick. Yeah, Harlequin's dope. I like Harlequin. You said that he's a divisive figure, and I don't
Uh-huh.
see why people would dislike Harlequin. So like
Well,
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because this
it's
is the sixth world
He's
after
also
all.
a huge racist. No.
Like,
well, it's more along the lines of the way he tends to pull runners into doing work for him,
uh-huh.
and that you thought Sam Hickory was bad in our
Uh-huh.
sinless
Like-
episodes. Well, he doesn't even hold a candle to Harlequin.
Oh, okay. So it's more of the people in his wake.
Yes.
Well, he is not wrong to me, so A+ for
Hey,
Harlequin.
don't hate the player, hate the game, you know?
While Harlequin still recognized Dunkelzahn as a dragon and therefore an enemy of elves, who would eventually have to be slain,
Oh.
Mm.
he still respected Dunkelzahn deeply.
That's interesting. And he's like, fundamentally, you're gonna have to go at some point. But, you know, you're pretty okay.
There were those in the shadows that had thought that Harlequin might have had a hand in Dunkelzahn's death, although Harlequin did admit to one of his runner acquaintances that he was not strong enough to kill the dragon
Oh.
and had
Oh.
no wish to do so. So this guy
I see.
that's high double digits in initiate was still worried about trying to tangle with Dunkelzahn one-on-one.
Dude, I mean, we've already established the only person that could kill Dunkelzahn was Dunkelzahn. So
Remember in Dunkelzahn's last will and testament that he bequeathed Harlequin the King Richard the Lionheart's suit of armor and the
Yes.
sword Excalibur,
Oh,
should
there it
anybody
is.
find it.
yeah. And that, I'm assuming, was what he made the joke of the armor still fits in reference to.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Class.
And by 2062, the suit of armor has been claimed from the Draco Foundation. So Harlequin's got the armor.
Oh, shit.
Upon Dunkelzahn's death, the next dragon to step in to sort of replace Dunkelzahn as his ally is Hestaby. Remember, Hestaby is the one that's over in Cal Free State?
Yes.
Yes. Yep. And she takes over as being his ally once Big D exits. He lives a very solitary life, kind of nomadic as well, just roaming the world wherever it may take him. He does have a home somewhere in Seattle and in France.
Diversify his property.
His locations. What else is there? For his relationships, he did kidnap, like I said, Aaron's daughter. And having done that, he has tutored her in her magical abilities.
Ah, so a productive kidnapping.
Well, she doesn't think so because she's frequently upset with Harlequin because he chooses not to fully explain things. Since he's of the mindset of, I'll point you in the direction, but then you've got to figure it out for yourself.
I gotta kind of respect that.
Harlequin has not told Foster who her true parentage is.
So to this day, she doesn't know.
To this day, she doesn't know that Aaron the Scribe is her father.
And how old is she at this point?
Jeez. Early 2050s. She's a teenager, so by 2070, she'd be in her early 30s, early to late 30s.
So, in order to bring down all of the excitement about Harlequin right now, what are
Mhm.
some of the known terrible ways that he's gotten people to work for him?
Ah, he's used a lot of intermediaries before. He'll use fixers that aren't really in the know. It's just somebody that's handed them a job.
Hmm.
Otherwise, he'll take the more direct approach and just usually appear where the runners like to hang out.
Hmm.
He'll just be there or just show up. Or he's also been known to recruit runners by creating a puzzle for them to solve to show their worth.
Uh-huh.
He's also been known to hire other gangs and or runner teams to go after the runners that he actually wants to do the job to force them into it or force them in his direction so they cross paths.
I mean, that just feels like efficiency to me.
He's like
You're supposed
Riddler and Kaiser Soze and the Joker and an elf.
All rolled into one.
Yeah.
listen, he just wants to vet the prospective employees. I don't understand what the problem is.
He does want to make sure that they are worth it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Qualified.
considering that he's taken on the horrors and that he's he's fought bug spirits. He
This is an
travels the
amateur
metal.
hour.
He travels the meta planes in his physical body, which nobody else can claim to be able to do.
Yeah. All of this is checking out.
Uh-huh.
I still have yet to see any kind of issue with this man.
Yeah,
Harlequin.
what are you hiding, Easy?
Harlequin's second favorite character in the Sixth World.
It's the way that he interacts, really, in that he's aloof. And even when he does hire you, he doesn't give you a whole lot of direction.
Mm.
He
And
points you.
Yeah, he points you in where he wants you to go, and it's like, hey, go take care of this for me. All right, I've got someplace else to be that's way more important.
Anyway,
That
it's on
kind
another
of
plane of
thing.
existence. Bye.
Bye. And then on top of that, like if you're doing the prescribed job for him, if you mess up or step out of line in a way that he finds, dishonorable or ends up subverting the goal that he had originally set you out to accomplish, he will step in and reprimand you, usually in a very dark way. Like,
Through murder. Oh,
well, normally
He doesn't need murder. Murder's boring.
yeah, you're so right.
the way that he approaches you, usually it's with a smile and a twinkle in his eye. But if you cross him, it's like the scene from The Lord of the Rings where the shadows just deepen and Gandalf appears to grow. And it's one of those moments like, you done messed up and I'm here to tell you about it.
I won't ask again.
Pretty much. Yeah, he doesn't suffer fools either. So if you mess up once, you'll usually never hear from him again.
And no one will hear from you again.
if you really screw with his plans, yeah.
Noted.
Mm-hmm. There's only one other person that Harlequin is deeply acquainted with or has tie-ins to his history, and that is another immortal elf named Anya Dupree. And she was a countess in the Fourth World.
Has she had any other relevant machinations in the Sixth World so far? Or
well,
anything that we've talked about, I should say?
She is... I don't think we've talked about her a whole lot because I believe she's more involved in Tir na Nog.
Oh, okay.
She appeared to be a magnet for rumors ranging from the strange to downright silly. She was friendly with Lofweir, Aeron, and Harlequin.
Good company.
Right? And Oak Forest.
Whoa. One of the big ones, right?
Well, that was one of the first council of princes in Tir Tongari. Another rumor in art circles is that Rembrandt painted her portrait.
Oh, that's cool.
An honor.
During the 19th century, Harlequin saved her from an absinthe addiction.
You love to see it.
Sometimes you just fall down an a-hole, you know?
Right? Harlequin was also the sole person she could rely on when she warned the leaders of both tier nations of the impending arrival of the horrors. Harlequin was the only one that listened to her and took note. Unfortunately, in 2073, it appears that she dies in the Watergate Rift bunker incident. She's presumed dead, though there are rumors that says that she's still alive.
Oh, so it's just rumored or proposed.
Well, you get more information on that in 2080. One of the lords that was in charge of the Unseelie court in Tir na Nog, named her as his successor and hired a team of runners to extract her from where she was.
Oh, to extract her.
Yeah. Apparently she was trapped in a metaplane.
Oh, alive?
Yeah.
Hey.
Whether they succeeded or not, I don't have that answer.
Oh, it's the Wii.
Mysteries.
Well, then you know who's to blame.
Mysterious forces. Hey, Vigilant.
They are watching you.
That is true. They are watching you. Harlequin also does make an appearance in one of the video games
Shadowrun
for Shadowrun. The first Shadowrun game that Harebrained Schemes released. Because you're taking on the Universal Brotherhood, and eventually Harlequin joins your party, and you.
Oh snap!
Spoilers. You storm the Brotherhood's compound with Harlequin to stop the insect spirits.
Nice.
Because insect spirits bad.
Very.
Well, that's
that
perspective.
Oh, no.
That's not perspective. That is straight up there awful.
Batting is putting it very incredibly lightly.
But have you heard of the tidings of Santa Claus?
Oh my god.
Oh no, not again.
No more Santa Claus.
It's over when Santa Claus says it's over.
So at this point in our timeline, for Sinless, what's Harlequin up to? Is he doing the Dragonheart stuff?
No, that takes place in 2056 and 2057. In the 2060s.
Oh, that's right. Dunkelzahn hasn't been assassinated yet.
Yes, he has.
Oh yeah. Wait.
2057.
Okay. Dunkelzahn was assassinated in 20. 20 something?
Higher.
Come on now. We talked about this.
Frantically checking notes.
August 9th, 2057.
So he's assassinated in 2057.
Yeah, and in that same month, in 2057, they acquire the Dragonheart and use it to destroy the spike point.
So he is still alive in Sinless. That's what I said, and you were like, no.
So coy. What a Harlequin thing to do.
Harlequin is still around, just nobody knows what he's up to.
Okay. That's all I was trying to ask.
Really, after 3rd edition, he kind of just drops off the radar for a little bit.
Okay. Good for him,
And I don't know if it's because they were changing and doing a lot of things for 4th, 5th, and 6th edition, but I haven't seen him mentioned, I don't think, in any of the more recent books that have come out.
It feels like once again the Shadowrun writers just kind of leave the fate of characters up to what you want them to do.
Well, I mean, he's a major NPC, so
right.
Anything that you are dealing with in the magical world, he could be a part of. Like, one of my favorites with a storyline that I was kind of cooking up and working with was dealing really heavily with the Arthurian legend outlook. And my player in the game who's playing a mage, I was tempting with dark power, basically, in that he found this artifact dagger.
Oh no.
And it would whisper things and ideas to him sometimes, and that helped him with his spell formula, and it helped him initiate, and it was helping him become more powerful. What he didn't know is that that particular dagger, I had taken the liberty of adding a shard of the personality of Morgan Le Fay into it.
Woo.
That's cool.
And she was whispering ways to make him more powerful so that he could become powerful enough to basically bring her from the metaplane she was trapped on into our world so she could start wreaking havoc and everything.
Oops, evil dagger.
At which point, at which point, I assume she'd have to be confronted with Harlequin again at some point. Yeah,
yes,
that's dope.
That was my whole background inner workings. I unfortunately didn't get to see it to fruition, but that was my underlying big story arc for that particular campaign.
Dope.
So if you're going to do anything magical and potentially world breaking in your dealings with magic, consider having Harlequin step in and mess with it in some way. Whether for his own benefit or the benefit of the world, that's up to you.
And you might not even know.
You might not. There's this great blurb here in this adventure guide that's just called Harlequin, because there are 2 adventures that came out. There's one that's called Harlequin, right? And then the other one is called Harlequin Returns.
I wonder what they're about.
Really in-depth naming here, right?
Yeah. Complex.
I mean, you might find out what they're about, so I don't want to spoil anything.
Ah, look at you.
Look at me. But at the back of the book here, it does give you running Harlequin, like how to kind of get into his mindset.
Nice.
And it says that Harlequin is chaos personified. His attitude, manner, philosophy, dress, and accent are subject to change at a moment's notice. He's quick-witted, but sometimes his wit depends on some obscure reference that possibly only 3 other people in the world understand.
Guys, am I Harlequin? Is this how I find out? Am I awakening?
Always have been.
If his anger lasts, as it has for Aaron the Scribe, it will become a consuming passion. The game master should play Harlequin as a wild, almost elemental force. He is prone to rambling and raving on the most arcane subjects, but what he says is often fascinating and revelatory.
Austin, I don't know why they took your personal blurb and just put it in this book. That's kind of messed up.
I feel seen and attacked at the same time.
Harlequin's clothes are more typical of an inhabitant of the sprawl, except that he always seems to be slightly behind the times.
On purpose.
He wants to be retro.
Forever a hipster.
He is forever a hipster.
But he's cool.
Well, like I said, the t-shirts that he wears are for like popular punk bands that go against the establishment. A lot of the pens that he has on his leather jackets are usually just crazy. Like there's one on here that says 2020. There's a smiley face. There's a peace symbol. There's a dragon pin. There's an I like Ike pin.
Hell yeah, let's go. That's awesome.
So he even wears stuff that he's collected from history on his person just to throw people off, which is why he's chaos personified. I think that's why a lot of Shadowrun fans like him, because he's just so off the wall and you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, he's chaotic. He's true chaotic neutral.
Oh god, yes, he's chaotic neutral personified.
Yeah, and that's great.
Please help us. Please help us.
I love it. Cool. Solidly solidified as my second favorite character in Shadowrun. Let's go.
And it's an elf. Who knew?
Hey, I got nothing against elves, all right? You got to talk to Cosboy over there. I got no problem with elves.
Wow, he's throwing you under the bus.
It's okay, because we under the bus we're safe from them knife ears.
If you want to be if you want to be real derogatory in the sixth world,
and I do.
You wouldn't call them necessarily knife ears. You would refer to them as dandelion eaters.
Right, dandelion eaters. I forgot about that.
Yep. That is what they are referred to as
in
the absolute most derogatory term.
Oh man.
Easy. I feel like when you're editing this episode, when he calls them knife ears, you should bleep it. It just makes a censor noise, and then we'll just leave it up to the listener's interpretation to what Tyler just said.
And then you guys should do your reaction now of like what it's like when you react to me saying something horribly racist. I can't believe you said that.
I can't believe Tyler decided to get himself canceled on the same day as Justin Roiland. What a hero.
Wow.
Wow, we're topical. We're timely.
We are very timely. At least right now. I mean, later on when people listen to this after the fact, they're gonna be like, who's that? What is
still age well.
It definitely will age well.
I like to appease to our current listeners, Easy. I like, because I appreciate them. They're here. They're listening. They're listening. They're having a good time.
Exactly.
And for anybody that's listening to this like 3 years from now for the first time, I appreciate you, but like 95% appreciation. 100% appreciation for everybody who's here the day it drops. You guys know who you are.
You're the real ones.
You're the real ones. The real MVPs.
Damn, we're just alienating an entire generation of like down the road. They're gonna listen to this podcast when they're trying to figure out where civilization went wrong. They're like, "Wow, these guys are jerks."
Yeah, they'll point to this episode. This was the fall of the fifth world. They shall say.
This is it. This is the one.
Yeah, one of them said like an elf slur, and then they just call that all of us in the future. Man,
I don't know, guys. I feel like one of the things that we should try and do maybe for one of the worm talks is see if we can reach out to the authors that brought us Harlequin and see what they have to say about him not really being mentioned a whole lot in the like 4th, 5th, and 6th edition books. See how they feel about it.
For some reason, asking about what Harlequin is up to at any given moment sounds like an exercise in futility. Just because he doesn't even know until it's happening, I imagine.
Right. I don't know. We got lots of names for Harlequin authors that we could try and tap and see what we can find out.
You're listening to this podcast. Yo, hit us up.
Yeah.
I hope so. Yeah. Let us know. We'll bring it up on Worm Talks. That's where it belongs.
How you doing?
Well, I'm glad I could bring you one of your second favorite characters, Austin.
He is dope. I like it. I mean, dubious machinations in regards to hiring runners, but again, I like to think of it more of like a quality control situation than anything else. So
that's true. I mean, he doesn't get tied down in any one area. We'll say that he's always on the move.
If you get hired by him, you've earned it.
Or you have some use to him that you aren't aware of.
Even better. There's a bit of a 50-50.
Always. There's always that. Listeners, you'll have to let us know. Why do you like Harlequin? What makes him stand out to you in the sixth world from what you've understood?
Why don't you like Harlequin? And why are you just down with the man?
Yeah, man. Part of the problem, man.
Which man are we talking about? Are we talking about the corporate man or
the man?
I don't even know.
In the sixth world, that refers to a lot.
That's very fair.
If you don't like Harlequin, you're probably an agent of the mysterious forces, and you will be brought down.
Truth.
You will be laid low.
You will
not
be
me
laid
threatening
low.
the audience. Couldn't be me.
Amazing. Well done.
And if we were able to get said presence for a alleged future episode of Worm Talk, how would people go about being able to listen to that episode, Easy?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. the way that people are going to be able to listen to future Worm Talks. You know what? Not even just listen, but be able to participate by submitting their questions to get answered by us. Well, all you have to do is join our Patreon. $5 a month gets you the access. You go on over to patreon.com/critical_hits. You sign up and you supply us with your questions that you have about the sixth world that you just can't wait to get answered. And we will answer those questions. For previous reference, see our first Worm Talk episode that we did release so that you'll understand the format. But hey, not only do you get to ask us questions and participate in Worm Talk and get to listen to all these lovely lore podcasts ahead of time before they're released to the general public, you also get your name shouted out at the end of all of our Sinless episodes. And that will carry over into our new season of Sinless when it starts to air. You also get to be a voice in any of our other upcoming events that we have scheduled for our patrons. And let me tell you guys, there are some good ones on the horizon. You'll just have to come and join and find out what they are.
Space turkeys approve.
Yeah. I was going for the was it the almost the fish noise that they make in Wayne's World?
In Wayne's World, yeah. One way. Let's do the super mega happy ending.
Yeah, let's do the super mega happy ending. Well, fellow cohorts, do you have any other questions or comments about the great Harlequin?
No, I think you filled us in. I feel thoroughly filled. Yep, I'm sticking with that. Sticking with that statement.
Just making sure that's the statement you wanted to go with.
Yep.
We're Shadowrunning on full.
Oh, running on full. Well, all right, guys. If you've got nothing else, then I want to thank you for hanging out with us for this long, and we hope that you have enjoyed all of the sweet, sweet, delicious lore that has been supplied to you thus far, and we hope to keep bringing you more of it. So be sure to come back and join us next time.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. has granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and/or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.